Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I am your host, Blackenfist, and I'm here to answer some of your own questions. And this time around, I'm not really going to answer questions from just ask.fm, but I'm also on Twitter because I am going to start trying to get some questions from there from now on. So why don't we get right into that? Really hoping to get some good-ass questions. What is your favorite and least favorite saga in Dragon Ball Z? You know, this could have turned into a video, I'm not sure, but who cares really? I guess I could say my opinions here. I think that, you know, it's actually a lot easier for me to name my favorite saga in Dragon Ball, and I'm gonna say Dragon Ball here because that's, you know, I'm a Dragon Ball fan. So my favorite saga is probably Cell Arc. You know, probably the Cell Arc, although that could be very debatable. I'd have to think about it. However, definitely my least favorite saga is the Red Ribbon Army arc. I personally, even though I didn't hate the Red Ribbon Army arc, I just thought that story-wise, it had some pitfalls. Could Vegeto have killed Buu without the Spirit Bomb? Buu had already proven that he had survived everything else. This is probably you know, it's actually pretty plausible. I mean, Vegeto was toying around in the manga and anime with Buu in his fight because he couldn't have killed Buu because Goten, Trunks, and Gohan were still in Buu, and obviously if he killed Buu, he would have killed them too. So, on your next Skype talk, can you talk about Superman versus Beerus? Who would win? Well, as for when the next Skype talk will be, I'm not sure, but I can tell you that Superman versus Beerus will not be one of them, because quite honestly, even though I'm not a Superman fan, from what I've heard, Superman can pretty much beat anybody in Dragon Ball, even Whis. So, I mean, Superman is, yeah, so I really don't find this interesting. Let's just say I don't find that an interesting topic of putting Superman in there, since he would pretty much just destroy anyone in Dragon Ball. Thoughts about 10 things that need to happen in Dragon Ball Super. Can't disagree with any of them. But I think that one thing that Dragon Ball Super definitely has to have is it needs to have a story. It needs to expand the series. One of the biggest things that I think Dragon Ball Super really has to have on its shoulders is expanding the series beyond what it was. Z, when the Z era came, it really changed the dynamics of the series. What I mean by that is, like, let's use a previous example. When Goku being an alien, when Raditz came down to Earth and revealed that Goku was an alien and that he's part of this race, and this just opened up the series to aliens and other planetary exploration. It just really changed the dynamics of the series, and I think Dragon Ball Super has to bring home something similar, because otherwise I feel it's gonna get stale. It's gonna feel too redundant if Dragon Ball Super really doesn't change the dynamics of Dragon Ball. And that's one of the biggest things that Dragon Ball Super has to do. As for listing another 9, you know, I could probably do that, but I'd have to really think about that. Okay, Blackenfist, how would Monkey D. Luffy do in the Dragon Ball Z universe? Also, Gon from Hunter x Hunter versus Kid Goku. Well, I can't comment on Gon because I've never seen Hunter x Hunter, but I can tell you Monkey D. Luffy, even though I'm not a One Piece, I don't really watch it. I mean, Monkey D. Luffy would do pretty good for himself. I think that Monkey D. Luffy probably would start being outclassed around the Saiyan and Frieza arcs. So, but before then, I think he's probably, he probably would be able to kick Piccolo's ass. King Piccolo's ass, that is. What is your inspiration that made you want to become a YouTuber? It really wasn't much of an inspiration. It just happened, sort of, and it just kept spiraling into a bigger and bigger snowball. I just started doing YouTube because I really almost as a happenstance, Toonami was coming back. Toonami did come back, and that caused me to make a lot of Toonami videos, and eventually I wanted to just make videos on stuff I wanted to, and since I was a Dragon Ball fan, that seemed like a pretty good choice. What if Teen Gohan never stopped training after defeating Cell? How different would the series be, and what power level would he be? I can't really say how much what power level it is, because I don't really care much for power levels, and I might make a video in the future discussing how power levels really don't matter. But if Gohan kept training, I would definitely say that Gohan would have a very good chance of being one of the strongest characters. Well, he is one of the strongest, but he would definitely, let's just say, he'd definitely be stronger than Vegeta. And quite honestly, he might even be stronger than Goku, although that's debatable because Goku was training in the other world, and because of that, he received special training and was able to ascend to Super Saiyan 3. It's very unclear whether Gohan would have been able to do that in the 7-year gap. Most likely not, but he definitely would, if he kept training throughout his life. I definitely think that Gohan probably would be close to Goku, honestly, but definitely he'd be the second strongest character in the whole series, definitively. Do you think that if Dragon Ball got a good live action movie series, should they start with DB or DBZ? A lot of people are going to criticize me with this, especially because the comic book movies have been very successful with recent years, but I've always historically, and this is before Dragon Ball Evolution ever came out, but I've always thought that Dragon Ball was just not a series that could translate well to a live action type medium. So I always felt that Dragon Ball in general just didn't translate well. I'm not saying that a live action movie cannot be good. I'm just saying it's hard to translate it over. That being said, I mean, I would like a movie series to start with DB at the beginning, but I really wouldn't mind if it started at the beginning of Z. So, Blackenfist, what do you think Majin Buu's role will be in DB Super, and why? Majin God, maybe? I think Majin God might be wishful thinking, but honestly, I really don't think Majin Buu is going to have a major role in Dragon Ball Super. I'll be surprised if he did. If Vegeta can go Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, can he go SSJ3? Probably not. What if Future Trunks killed Imperfect Cell? Well, Future Trunks did kill Imperfect Cell, so I don't know what you're saying here. Why didn't Gohan turn Super Saiyan when Piccolo died? I mean, Piccolo died right in front of him twice. Comment, please. Well, the easy answer to this is that Toriyama hadn't thought of the Super Saiyan at the time, and that wasn't really a story plot, and not to mention Gohan wasn't the main character at the time either, so it would not make sense if Gohan turned Super Saiyan story-wise and, plot-wise if he did. Why is the evil containment wave never used in DBZ GT? By the way, just DBGT, that DBZ GT it doesn't exist, and I doubt it will be used in DBS. I doubt that the evil containment wave will make its return, and the reason it was never used again is because, quite honestly, it was a move that I think was obsolete. It failed against Piccolo, and it failed again so I feel that the evil containment wave probably is an obsolete move, and not to mention it can only work with demons. Now people will say, well, Piccolo wasn't a demon, he was a Namekian, and while that's true, it's a weird retcon because at the time Piccolo was a demon, and as far as the story was concerned, Piccolo was a demon, even though we know he wasn't. But that's just Dragon Ball for you. Toriyama didn't think this through. What's one thing you're hoping for with Dragon Ball Super? One thing I'm hoping for, even though it's wishful thinking, is that we just see Nam, Upa, maybe Suno, Android 8. Maybe that's one thing I'd be hoping for. And oh yeah, more Oolong. We need more Oolong in Dragon Ball. That's one thing I'm hoping for in Dragon Ball Super. Probably wishful thinking. Can TN regenerate like Piccolo? I think the answer to this is no. Naruto is a copy of DBZ, isn't it? I really don't think so, even though there are a lot of similarities to it, and even Masashi Kishimoto has said that he was inspired by Dragon Ball, and in fact based a lot of the characteristics that Naruto had on Goku. Now, I watched Naruto when it first came out, and I feel that Naruto and Goku really aren't that much in common. The only thing in common is that I guess they like to eat. But besides that, I feel that Naruto and Dragon Ball, they're similar because they're both shonen, and the fact that Dragon Ball really was a very influential just manga, that it influenced a lot of things. And I wouldn't say that Naruto is a copy, but there are a lot of things that were inspired by Dragon Ball and Naruto. How long do you spend editing a video, and how long does it take you to make a script? Really, it all depends on the video. A video like a Thought for Talk, well, usually, and I'm not all Thought for Talks, but a video like Thought for Talk, honestly, is a video that's off the cuff, and we just go off what we know in the series now. Obviously, sometimes we have to look things up. A video that demands a little bit more, I might have to go up and maybe even write notes, because there's a lot of things to say in the video, and of course, you can't trust your own memory, so I usually write notes, not a whole script word for word. And as for editing, once again, it depends on the video. Obviously, the longer the video, the longer it takes to edit. But it really all depends on it. But as far as maybe a rough estimate, I would say that the average time I spend editing a video is probably like 4 hours. And that's encompassing like the average time. Some take longer, some take less. If you had to eat Kid Trunk's ass to save the entire planet, would you? Well, I'm not a cannibal. Why you dislike Vegeta? He's awesome and has struggles and pains no one else has. I don't know why there's this perception that I hate Vegeta, because quite honestly, I think Vegeta's pretty awesome. I just don't gush over Vegeta, and I feel that Vegeta is a very important and integral part of Dragon Ball, and honestly, he's just damn cool, man. I love Vegeta. I don't understand why people think I hate him for some reason. I don't. But you know, so a lot of people got really mad at me in my top saddest moments when I put Vegeta's atonement, you know, when he sacrificed himself against Buu at number 6 and not at number 1, and people said, "How dare you?" And I was like, well, it's my opinion. I mean, I put it in the top 10 saddest moments. You know that, I mean, I like the moment. I just don't think it's number 1 material. Do you watch Dragon Ball Z Abridge? And if so, what do you think of it? Yeah, I've been watching Dragon Ball Z Abridge since it came out in 2008. So yeah, and I enjoyed funny stuff. But quite honestly, although I did watch it for the, you know, comedy, I more recently have just been watching, you know, the one thing I admire a lot about DBZ Abridged is the editing and the production value of the video, obviously, since I kind of do something similar, and yeah, I really admire that. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta versus Beerus, who would win? That is a whole debate on its own, and I could make like a 20-minute, maybe longer video discussing everything, and people will have points for both fighters, and honestly, I really side with Beerus on this, because I do feel that the Super Saiyan God transformation is something extremely powerful, but quite honestly, it's one of those things where Gogeta was not in there for a very long, and Beerus, you know, was only in for one movie, and we really didn't even see the full potential of Beerus anyway. So, do you actually like the idea of androids that were made by a human that are stronger than Super Saiyans? I'm guessing you're talking about Dr. Gero, and I have no problem with it. Do you play non-anime video games? Of course I do. I probably play more non-anime video games than I do anime video games. Here's Age of Empires 3 for one. Do you watch any other anime other than Dragon Ball? Yes, I do. I think I've mentioned it recently in my anime tag video. Things I like to watch. Well, back in the day, I really liked Outlaw Star. I really like, more recently, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, the one I'm watching right now, Hajime no Ippo. So, what do you use to edit your videos? I use Sony Vegas. US DBZ music or Japanese DBZ music. Unlike a lot of other people, I really like both. And I know that this has been a polarizing topic for years and years, but As far as which one is superior, in my opinion, I think the Japanese fits Dragon Ball better than the Bruce Falconer score. But unlike a lot of the, so in a way, you can't really call me a purist because unlike Dragon Ball purists, like I would say Mr. Fusion is a pretty close guy to a Dragon Ball purist, and unlike guys like that, I really do feel that Bruce Falconer, even though with all of its flaws, fits Dragon Ball in a way, and I know that a lot of guys wouldn't understand that, and maybe it's because I have grown up with the Bruce Falconer score. Some people say I might have been corrupted by it, but that is just what I think. So, and I think that'll do it for the Twitter questions. But have no fear, we're going right to Ask.fm. Would you marry Gine or Fasha? And already those Ask.fm type questions, I'd probably choose Gine. Do you think Yamcha should beat Mr. Satan to take his title? I mean, if he wants to, but quite honestly, I kind of like Mr. Satan being the champ. Have you heard of Sailor Moon Crystal? Yes, I have heard of it. I really haven't watched it. Would you marry a female Saiyan? You know, if I really wanted to have really strong offspring, maybe, you know, maybe I'd consider that. I think a better way for Toriyama to bring back Frieza into the story would have been if Frieza was wished from another timeline where Goku lost his fight on Namek. That Frieza then went on to become stronger and stronger rather than train for 4 months. What do you think? I'm gonna disregard all your time travel thing and just go to something that doesn't strictly make sense, that I strongly disagree with. If Frieza beat Goku, Frieza wouldn't train. He would not get stronger and stronger. I said this in one of my previous videos where talking about the motivations of Goku and Vegeta. A lot of characters in Dragon Ball aren't motivated to become stronger. Frieza, Majin Buu, Master Roshi. Throughout the series, at least, Master Roshi was never portrayed to be having the motivation to become stronger. And Frieza is definitely one of those guys. If Frieza beat Goku, he would just move on with his life. In GT, would Goku at the end of the 100-year gap be stronger than the current SSG SS, or perhaps stronger than Beerus or Whis? That is impossible to ascertain because we have no idea how strong that Goku is. I suppose eating ass is more healthy than you think it is. Like I said before, I'm not a cannibal. Shut up and make me a cookie. Do you love Facebook, and would you get married to it? Well, unfortunately, I don't really like Facebook. I'm not, I don't spend too much time on there, so. Pink, red, and blue, that is all. I'm gonna have to go with blue, as you can tell. What happened to Bardock after he destroyed Lord Chill? Do you think he could still be alive in Dragon Ball Super? Episode of Bardock is official fanfiction. It's not canon. I'm sorry. Like, I keep getting these like Bardock Super Saiyan related questions, and maybe I'm a bit mean, but it's not official. It makes no sense, and quite honestly, I don't like it. I'm being quite frank. Traffic be awful. Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, it can be. Mother Nature versus Father Time. Well, this is gonna get into some deep philosophy type stuff. Well, I'm gonna say maybe Father Time, because if you think about it, if we go far enough into the future, eventually the Earth stops existing. That pretty much means Mother Nature, right? So I guess time beats nature there, unless you're talking about the nature of all of space and the universe and the suns and stars. And if you include that, then there is a scientific theory that says that the universe is expanding, and that eventually that everything in the universe will go black because all the matter in the universe will be expanded so much that only like tiny particles will exist. I think that's how it goes, and so I'm guessing that Father Time will win still, because eventually there'll be a point where there's pretty much nothing in the universe. According to that theory, at least. If the big green dub of Dragon Ball Z movies had kept going, what do you think the new Battle of Gods movie will be called? It would be called The Return of the Pharaoh Cat. Do you remember when people did the monkey? I really don't know. I'm assuming that's some sort of dance move, but no. If Hitler was raised by apes like Tarzan, well, obviously, then he would raise a giant army of gorillas to do his bidding and, you know, take over Poland that way. Favorite X-Men? I really don't watch X-Men, never really been a fan, so can't say. What do you think of Dragon Ball Heroes? I really have no strong opinions on Dragon Ball Heroes, and for those of you that don't know, Dragon Ball Heroes is a card game, kind of a card game, a card game slash arcade game where like wacky stuff that pretty much appears, you know, like adult Gotenks, Super Saiyan 4, Broly, that kind of stuff. I really have no opinion on it whatsoever. I mean, it exists pretty much. It's pretty much, if you took all the fan art of the Dragon Ball community and just made it into all the fan art into cards like Super Saiyan 5 Goku and Super Saiyan Nappa, and if you did all that and just made them into cards, that's pretty much what Dragon Ball Heroes is. Do you hate Dragon Ball Kai? Why or why not? I don't hate Dragon Ball Kai. I feel that Dragon Ball Kai has done some good things to the series as a whole by introducing a whole new set of fans. But I really don't prefer it. I would rather watch the original Z anime. And it just didn't interest me at all. If I wanted to consume Dragon Ball without filler, there's the manga, and to me, if I choose the anime experience of Dragon Ball, I want it to be the complete version, because to me, if I'm watching Dragon Ball Kai, it feels like it's a cut version pretty much to me. And although some people think that it's good because it cuts out a lot of unnecessary stuff, to me it feels like I need to watch it all. And if I don't want filler, I'll go to the manga. So that's just the way I feel. Can you make a video ranking all the Dragon Ball arcs? I know Mr. Fusion is doing his analysis, but I want to have your perspective on the arcs. You know, I respect Mr. Fusion a lot, because I had an earlier question where it was asking my least favorite and favorite arcs, and my least favorite is the Red Ribbon Army arc. And that's his favorite, and quite honestly, the reasons he said I respect, even though I would still consider it to be my least favorite arc. I don't hate it, I just feel like the other arcs are better. If I really were to really rank the sagas, I would really have to think a lot about that, and maybe like watch a lot of episodes to really get my real opinion on that. Why do people hate Dragon Ball Z? Almost any anime fan I talk to, they hate Dragon Ball. Why? Well, it's almost the same reason why Justin Bieber or the Transformers movies are hated. They're just popular. Now, although there are good reasons to hate the Transformers movies, because maybe they don't represent the series, or they're not good movies. I only watched the first movie, guys, and quite honestly, I don't really have an opinion. The thing is, they're popular, and in the anime community or in the anime fandom, Dragon Ball is one of the most popular things out there, and a lot of people will attack it for that same reason. I think that's the reason it gets a bad cred among some anime fans. And also, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I recognize that not everyone's gonna like Dragon Ball, so you also gotta consider that too. If you could make a non-canon Dragon Ball Z movie, what would it be about? If I could make a non-canon Dragon Ball anything, it would probably be something that fills in the gap between the 5-year gap between the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai and the Coming of Raditz, which is pretty much in between Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball anime, and the Dragon Ball Z anime. I really would love to explore that part of the series. I feel that part of the series is very interesting, since Goku's still very much a very young man. He just got married to Chi-Chi, or you know, he and stuff, and Piccolo's still a villain. Krillin, TN are still relevant, so I feel that this part of the series could really be explored. It probably never will be, but that's probably what I would do. Do you think Bulma's sister Tights will appear in Dragon Ball Super? That is probably more likely than a lot of people like to give it credit for, or a lot more likely than a lot of the other suggestions that I hear being popped around what will appear in Dragon Ball Super. Because quite honestly, Jocko, who from the Jocko the Galactic Patrolman, has already appeared in the new movie Fakatsu no F, so Tights appearing in the new series is very much could happen. Absolutely. Are you a fan of Spawn? I'm assuming so, since your profile picture. What other comic book characters do you like? You know what? This is gonna be call me crazy, but I really am not a fan of Spawn. The reason I have that picture as my profile picture is because I thought it matched with the name Blackenfist and no other reason. My brother is a fan of Spawn. I mean, he got the animated series and he enjoyed that, and he actually got some of the comics as well. I really don't read that many comics, honestly, so you know, but you know, that's kind of weird that, yeah, I'm not a fan of Spawn even though my profile picture is of him. Klitschko's last fight went the distance. Although Jennings wasn't a real threat, his movement bothered him a lot. If Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder applied the same movement combined with their punching power, could he finally be beat, or will it take much more? You know, Deontay Wilder is probably the only guy right now that probably has even a chance against Klitschko. Now the thing is, Klitschko is getting old though. I don't know what his exact age, but he has to be around like 35. Somewhere around 35 years old, and in boxing terms, that's pretty old. That's already past your prime. So Klitschko is open for the taking. I definitely would love to see the Klitschko versus Deontay Wilder. That's probably the only fight I would really see at heavyweight that I would be interested in, and they should do it, honestly. I think Deontay has a really good chance, and quite honestly, if Klitschko beats Deontay Wilder, I mean, Deontay Wilder is the real deal, and you know that I think that will say a lot to Klitschko's detractors. So I think that would prove a lot in Klitschko's legacy if he was able to beat Deontay Wilder. But guys, those are all the questions, and of course you can ask me more. I don't know when this will be, but I hope that you enjoyed all those questions and you enjoyed my answers. And of course, guys, I am Blackenfist. And I'm out, man.